Hey there, Rednecks, Preppies, Redneck Preppies. It's me, the Redneck Preppy. How you doing today? Great? Good. Just a friendly reminder that the Redneck Preppy can also be found on Rumble and Odyssey. Links to both platforms are in the description below. As I'm fond of saying, only God and my mother are perfect. The rest of us can only try. When it comes to reloading in my early days, I was certainly far from perfect. Consider this video a heads up to those of you wanting to try your hand, or maybe a bit of a reminder for us graybeards. Listen well, learn from the mistakes that I and others have made. One of the earliest and most dangerous misunderstandings that beginners bring to reloading is the idea that published load data is flexible or approximate. New reloaders may assume that if one powder charge works, a slightly higher powder charge must be better, or that substituting one bullet or primer for another of similar appearance is acceptable. This mindset often comes from other hobbies where experimentation is harmless. Reloading is different. Load data is developed through controlled testing and pressure measurement. Each variable, powder type, bullet weight, bullet construction, primer, and cartridge dimensions interacts with the others. Changing even one variable can dramatically affect chamber pressure. Beginners often believe that they're being cautious by making small changes. In reality, pressure doesn't always increase in a linear or predictable way. What appears to be a minor adjustment can push a load into unsafe territory without obvious signs. Experienced reloaders treat published data as a boundary, not a suggestion. Beginners who fail to adopt this discipline early expose themselves and their equipment to unnecessary risk. Now, before we get to the next mistake, let me say that there are a lot of experienced hands out there that love telling new reloaders that lawyers write reloading manuals with an eye to reducing potential liability, and that you can do whatever you like. Don't listen to them. Follow the load data. Another frequent beginner error is approaching reloading as a task to be completed quickly rather than a process to be executed precisely. New reloaders may focus on how many rounds they can pump out an hour instead of how consistently they can reproduce each step in the process. This often leads to skipped inspections, inconsistent charges, or incomplete attention to detail. I know I was certainly occasionally guilty of this. Rushing also increases the likelihood of distraction. Reloading while watching television or engaging in conversation or multitasking introduces the potential for cognitive overload. When attention is divided, mistakes become more likely and potentially more dangerous. I'll bet a significant amount of money that the vast majority of double charges were simply the result of divided attention. The irony is that speed comes naturally with experience. Trying to manufacture speed early usually results in errors that negate any time savings, particularly if ammunition has to then be pulled apart or discarded. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Safe reloading is deliberate. Each step is performed with intent, awareness, and verification. Beginners who slow down build habits that support safety for the rest of their reloading endeavors. Reloading benches often reflect a reloader's mindset. A cluttered bench increases the likelihood of confusion, and confusion is a serious hazard in ammunition assembly. Beginners sometimes keep multiple powders, primers, and brass types on the bench at the same time. Containers may be left open or unlabeled. Components may be transferred to secondary containers temporarily and then never returned. This environment creates opportunities for the wrong powder to be used, for components to be mixed unintentionally, or for uncertainty about what was used in a given batch. When uncertainty exists, safety is compromised. Powder is a particular concern. Many powders appear similar but behave very differently under pressure. Using the wrong powder, even in a charge rate that appears reasonable, can be catastrophic. Experienced reloaders enforced strict organizational discipline. Only one powder is present at a time. Components are returned to original containers immediately. Every batch is clearly identified. Beginners who fail to adopt these habits often don't recognize the danger until something goes wrong. And related to this, some reloaders brag about how messy their reloading benches are. Powders all over the place, spilled, all that sort of thing. Keep your bench clean. That means regular vacuuming and cleaning of surfaces. New reloaders frequently underestimate the importance of inspecting brass cases. Cases are often viewed as reusable containers rather than as components with a finite lifespan. Beginners may assume that a once fired or factory brass is automatically safe, or that a case that looks fine is acceptable. However, signs of fatigue or damage can be subtle, especially to the untrained eye. Cracks, thinning, and deformation are not always obvious. Some defects are only detectable through careful inspection under good lighting and consistent handling. Another mistake is attempting to salvage questionable brass. Oh my God, have I done this way too many times. Beginners may be reluctant to discard cases due to costs or perceived waste. This mindset leads to rationalizing defects instead of rejecting them. Experienced reloaders accept that brass is consumable. When a case raises doubt, it should be discarded without hesitation. Beginners who fail to develop this discipline often accumulate risk over time, loading cases that should have been removed from service earlier. I've made several videos on this topic, and you can find links to a few of them in the description below. I must have been a bureaucrat in a previous life because I love keeping records. Many beginners underestimate the importance of documentation. Early on, loads may seem simple and memorable. As experience grows, this assumption proves to be false. Without records, reloaders forget which components were used, what charge levels were tested, or how a particular batch performed. This lack of information makes troubleshooting difficult, safety assessment nearly impossible, and whether the end result was even worth it. Unlabeled ammunition creates uncertainty. Record keeping doesn't have to be complex. Even basic notes, what was loaded, when, and with which components, provide accountability and traceability. Experienced reloaders treat documentation as part of the process, not an optional extra. Beginners who skip this step often regret it later when questions arise that could have been answered easily. It's not just beginners. Earlier this year, I was experimenting with some loads for a rifle and hit upon a fantastic combination. The problem? I thought I'd remember which bullet I used. I didn't. And I've been trying to replicate that damn load since. Reloading isn't inherently dangerous, but it demands respect. The most common beginner mistakes aren't technical failures, they're mindset failures. Treating data casually, rushing the process, allowing disorganization, neglecting inspection, and failing to document work all stem from underestimating the precision involved. These mistakes are preventable, and nearly all experienced reloaders recognize them because they've seen the consequences firsthand. Reloading rewards patience, consistency, and humility. Beginners who approach the hobby with a safety-first mindset build confidence gradually and avoid costly errors. Those who cut corners may succeed briefly, but they rely on luck rather than discipline. In reloading, safety is not a single action. It's a habit built one careful decision at a time. At any rate, I hope you found today's video at least be vaguely entertaining and mildly informative. As always, I hope all of your forays into reloading are safe and productive. Take care, and bye-bye.